Yo, what's up everybody, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, I will be breaking down the Spider-Man PS5 story trailer that we just got a couple of weeks ago. Now, before we get into this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and please watch the full video, it will really help me out. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, starting at the beginning of the trailer, Harry talks about how lucky he is to be alive. And I think this is referring to the post-credit scene we got in the Spider-Man 2008 game, when he was in a containment pod with what seems to be Venom. And it seems like Peter and Harry are at Midtown High, where they both went to high school. Cut to the next scene, we see Miles and Peter jump off of Brooklyn Visions Academy's rooftop, which is where Miles goes to college. And we know he's starting up college because John Interher said it at the Spider-Man PS5 panel at Comic-Con. He says Miles is starting college, not that he's in college. So this could just be Peter and Miles visiting the college Miles will be attending. I also wonder if Peter will be teaching at Brooklyn Visions Academy, especially with Peter starting up his teaching career, which is another thing that was said at the Spider-Man PS5 Comic-Con panel. Now, in this image, we get our first look at Coney Island in this game, where most of the rides are names of Marvel villains. For example, the Ferris wheel we see here is named Big Wheel, and Big Wheel is a villain in the Marvel comics who is essentially just a guy in a Ferris wheel with guns, cannons on the side of the wheel. And then we have this roller coaster called Speed Demon, and Speed Demon in the comics is a evil speedster, kind of like the Reverse Flash of the Marvel Universe. And then we have the water cannon station right here named Hydro Bench. Now, this is referring to Hydro Man, which is a Spider-Man villain, and Hydro Man's real name is Morris Bench. So this name is a collaboration of Hydro Man's villain name and his real name. The first name being Hydro is from his villain name, Hydro Man, and then the last one being Bench is from his real name, Morris Bench. Just to point it out, there's an airplane ride called Plain Jane, and this might be referring to a book that is called Plain Jane. Now in this scene, when Peter tells Miles about his new job being a teacher, Miles asks, "Will you still have time for tutoring?" Then this is referring to Peter and Miles, going out, and Peter still teaching Miles on how to be Spider-Man and how to be the best Spider-Man Miles can be. In which Peter responds with, "We'll figure it out." And this is where my theory comes in about Peter working at Brooklyn Visions Academy, so that he can still be with Miles at school and be in close proximity with Miles if any Spider-Man stuff comes up. Or maybe this "we'll figure it out" phrase could mean something worse. I think when he says "we'll figure it out," I think by the end of this game, Peter will give up being Spider-Man, letting Miles take over the entire position of New York's one and only Spider-Man. And in doing so, Peter will pursue his teaching career and stay a teacher instead of Spider-Man. But that's just a theory of mine. Let me know your theories in the comments down below. And when Peter says this, we see two people behind him wearing glow-in-the-dark t-shirts, one being a heart-shaped Spider-Man mask, another wearing a green triangular symbol. After doing some research, this green triangular symbol could be a Mysterio reference, because in every adaptation of Mysterio's costume, he always has some type of triangle on his suit, and his dominant color in his costume is green. Cut to the next scene, when Peter comes face to face with a Craven Goon. Notice the setting that they are in, because behind this Craven Goon, there's a logo that says Lobby. And when we switch to Peter, we can see lab equipment and computers everywhere, which leads me to believe that this is the inside of Oscorp building. And back to the lobby thing behind the Craven Goon. The only reason why I pointed this out is because in the San Diego Comic-Con poster, you can see Peter in the same building with that same lobby sign up there with the Venom suit on. So does this mean Peter has the symbiote suit with him in this scene? No. And here's how I know. If Peter had the symbiote suit on, he would be more serious and wouldn't crack a joke like he does in this scene.
I didn't know there were bears in these woods.
So this poster could just be Peter revisiting the Oscorp building with the symbiote suit. And here in this next scene, we see Peter with the wingspan on his regular suit, and we can see this webbed design, which is what he has in the comics and in the Spectacular Spider-Man adaptation series, which for some reason he doesn't really ever use his wingspan in that series, like, at all for some reason. I have no idea why. But anyways, and in this next scene, we see a new look at MJ with long hair. But behind her, there is some type of glowing box. And this made me think of that glowing box that we saw in Spider-Man Far From Home that Peter kept his nanotech suit in. And this leads me to believe this might be Peter's nanotech suit in this box behind MJ. But I'm probably wrong about this, given the fact that this is probably MJ's apartment that they are at and not Peter's. Anyway, in this scene, Peter says, MJ, I have a new name for you, Kraven. And this is because MJ is a writer for the Daily Bugle with her new boss, J. Jonah Jameson. And she probably needs a new headline to pitch to JJJ, or else he's going to threaten to fire her like he always does to his employees. Now, cut to the next scene. We can see a sign that says Swillcoat. And if you played the Screwball missions in the Spider-Man 2018 game, like me, worst decision of my life, you will recognize this sign from those missions, and you will not forget these signs because those missions were so aggravating, and I hope that Screwball is not in this game, and if she is, I'm deleting it. Now cut to this scene. We see Peter looking fresher than Meek in Thor Love and Thunder. I mean, just look at this man. For 5 minutes, bro. He is him for real. Anyways, why is Peter here is the question. I think I know why. I think he's here on an undercover mission looking for Kraven. But if you look at the silver platter he's holding, it has a bull on it. And Kraven does hunt animals. So having a bull symbol on a silver platter would be in his character. Now, in this next image, we can see that Peter is being attacked by a robo-dog, and it seems like they might be under some type of building, judging off of these water pipes in the background. And it seems like this is Peter's first interaction with one of these Kraven robo-dogs, because it does the same attack that it did to Peter in the gameplay trailer that we got a few months ago, and Peter handles the robot-dog with ease in that trailer. But it looks like in this one, it's going to be a bit of a more struggle for him since he does not have the symbiote. And then in this image, this is where Venom comes in the picture. As we see, this is the place that Venom crash lands onto Earth, confirming that he is from space in this storyline. And in this image, I think this is our first look at Dr. Curt Connors, not as the Lizard, because we know he works at Oscorp. And these two guards have Oscorp symbols on their shoulders. And I'm pretty sure Venom ends up with Curt in his lab at Oscorp or at his house. And in this next scene, Miles says, "I'm just a call away" to Peter, which makes me think Peter is going through a rough time, not only with just his Aunt May dying, but probably with something completely different that's in this game that we just don't know about, that Peter is going through. And I think Miles is just here to reassure his friend, I'm always here for you, and you can always count on me to have your back and to be there when you need me. Hey, yo, Miles is a real one. Props to you, bro. Anyways, in this next scene, we see Miles come face to face with the man that killed his dad, Martin Lee, aka Mr. Negative from the Spider-Man 2018 game. And John Pertwee, I'm sorry if I butchered his last name, said this at the Comic-Con panel for Spider-Man 2. There will be a lot of drama between these two characters, obviously. But just to note, in this image of Miles, we see Peter in the background making sure people are okay from what seems to be an explosion. Now, the fact that he's checking up on people proves that he does not have a symbiote suit yet. Because if you remember in the gameplay trailer, we see Peter rescue somebody from getting crashed by a plane and then just throwing them onto the floor, not caring if they got hurt. So the fact that he's checking on these people to see if they got hurt from an explosion proves that he does not have the symbiote suit right now. Anyways, back to Miles and the Martin Lee drama that's going on right now. Listen, all I'm saying is Martin Lee better be ready to throw hands, because Miles is. And he's just got a brand new upgrade with his powers. So this man is not going to hold back on Martin Lee. And I'm ready for this fight. I cannot wait. And now cut to the next image. We get our first look at Yuri as Wraith. And she looks so freaking awesome and clean. And I'm not going to lie, in my opinion, she looks worthy enough to be in a Mortal Kombat DLC pack. I'm not going to hold you. And remember, I will be doing a character breakdown for Yuri's new analysis, Wraith. So watch out for that video in the future. And in this next scene, we see Miles trying to stop multiple Kraven Robobots from taking something that looks like a cargo container. And there must be something important in here if Kraven wants it. And we know that this is what Kraven wants because these are his vulture bird Robobots that are trying to take it. And the containment thing is red, which makes me think that this might be from Roxxon. In this next clip, MJ says all Miles talks about is how to be a better Spider-Man. This is most definitely because Miles looks at Peter as a role model and a better Spider-Man than him, and Miles wants to reach Peter's level when it comes to being Spider-Man. And then we get a clip here which seems to be a MJ side mission, which a lot of people do not like for some reason. In my opinion, I played the MJ side mission in the 2018 Spider-Man game, and I didn't hate it, but I wouldn't be mad if it wasn't in the game at all because it was kind of unnecessary. I'm gonna admit, but it wasn't boring, and it was honestly, to me, it was kind of interesting. I enjoy the missions. What about you guys? Remember, comment down below if you enjoy the MJ side missions in the Spider-Man 2018 game. Anyways, look at MJ in this scene and notice the terror on her face when she noticed Peter is here. And in this image, if you pause it at the right time, it looks like the cover to Spider-Man Spider Shadow issue number 2. And in this issue, it shows Peter just being an absolute menace, from killing his enemies to breaking JJJ's hand and tearing limbs off of his enemies and putting a hole through Kingpin's chest. And given the fact that these two images look similar, people, including myself, are speculating that Peter killed someone in this scene, which is why MJ looks so frightened. Anyways, moving on to the next scene. In this scene, we see Miles breaking into a Kraven base, or this is possibly just Kraven's house, given the fact that there's a lot of trophies on the walls and a lot of the heads of animals hanging up everywhere. And I think the reason why Miles is here is to look for Peter, because the dialogue during this scene says, "Go help Pete." So this could be Miles going to try to find Pete because he might be in some type of danger. And then in this next scene, we get an image of Peter with the symbiote suit on top of the lizard. And let's just take a moment to admire how freaking cool this scene looks. All right, my moment's over. And then it seems like they're in some type of facility, given the fact that this whole place is covered in metal. And it seems like Pete is trying to take the suit off to me, but it's really uncertain. Or maybe due to the lizard screaming so loud, it made the symbiote detach from Peter. As we all know, sharp and large sound is one of the symbiote's weak. And this is just the symbiote coming back to Peter after the lizard is done screaming so loud. And then we get a new look at Kraven and his crew in the city. And notice how everyone is geared up except for Kraven. Like, this man is just like all hands, no weapons, just ready to throw down on whoever gets in his way, on whoever his next hunt is. If you ask me, I think Kraven's gonna be like one of the biggest menaces in this game, like behind Venom. But I think Kraven's gonna be like a really good second, maybe even better than Venom in this game. That's my opinion. Anyways, let's continue. And then in this next clip, we get a scene with Harry saying, "This was our dream." And it looks like he's saying this to either Peter or his dad. And I think it's his dad, but it also might be Peter. I don't know. But anyways, it looks like whatever his dream was that he was talking about has been crushed, given the fact that there's a big red flash of light coming from the left side of the screen, which might be hinting at a fire that happened at a building, or a building that was important to Harry, that was going to lead Harry to his goal or dream. And this building might be the Oscorp Tower that's on fire. Just a theory. Then we see another image of Harry needing a cane to walk. This might be from him exiting a containment pod after being in there for the past year. Or maybe even more than a year. Maybe like a year and like 3 months. I don't know. And then in this next, just like in every adaptation the Venom suit storyline has had. For example, Tobey Spider-Man had a Venom suit and he went through this exact same thing with, like, you know, the symbiote getting, you know, spreading and just taking over Peter's, like, overall attitude. And then we also get this same thing in the Spectacular Spider-Man series when we can literally see the symbiote spreading across his suit when it just it's just like a black suit with a spider symbol in the middle, and this completely changes Peter's attitude and the way he is. And in this next scene, we see Peter do a takedown move against multiple Kraven goons with the symbiote suit on. And he does it in what seems to be the Oscorp building, but just like I said at the beginning of the video when I was talking about the lobby symbol thing, this seems to be the place, and this might be the revisit I was talking about earlier in the video when he revisits the Oscorp building in these Venom symbiote suits. And we can see blue lighting in the background, which might be Miles, but it also might be some electricity shortage from the attack that Spider-Man does in this scene. And another thing, we can also see the floor crack in this scene, and they go down into some place. And I think whatever they went down into is this place where I was talking about the walls being covered in all metal. I think this is where they all dropped down because, I mean, I feel like if you put the two scenes together, it kind of fits. But anyways, now in this image, we get another look at MJ with the same lighting, blue and red lighting, and another face of fear on her. I think she might be witnessing Peter kill somebody. And then we see Miles do a takedown move against Kraven's goons. And it seems like he's doing it at Kraven's house. And this might be right after when he breaks into Kraven's house. Moving on to the next scene, we see Harry with his father, Norman Osborn, outside of the containment pod with the Venom symbiote in it. And it looks like him and his father are having a heartfelt talk, or maybe not, because in the next scene, we see Harry throw something out of the window, a vial of some sort that might contain something important, like the goblin ooze that Harry was taking in the Spectacular Spider-Man series. But I doubt that's what it is, because this is a story that involves Venom, not Green Goblin. And now, towards the end of the trailer, we see Harry standing over New York, and then we hear the saying, "We are going to heal the world." And because we hear it from Venom this time, and we heard it from Harry earlier in this series, this leads fans speculating that Harry is most definitely Venom. And like, honestly, I think he might be Venom, but I'm also kind of leaning to the fact it might actually be Norman. Think about this. In the Spectacular Spider-Man series, we all thought it was being led to believe that Harry was the one who was Green Goblin, especially with him taking all that green ooze. But at the end, it was revealed that it was actually Norman Osborn the whole time. And I think they might be doing the same thing in this game, leading us to believe that it's Harry, but then it's actually Norman. But what do y'all think? Comment down below. It's like the third time I said that. But yeah, they might be adapting that same storyline from the Spectacular Spider-Man series into this game. And then finally, the trailer ends with Venom tearing down a Kraven ship in Town Square. And I know it's Town Square because, like, when they're sprinting around, they show all these screens and stuff. And then when when Venom finally gets to the ground, he is met with all these soldiers and cars coming out with guns aiming at him. And this reminds me of that time when Hulk was freaking blasted through a building by Iron Man and then lands on the ground only to wake up to see a whole bunch of soldiers aiming guns at him in Avengers Age of Ultron. But yeah, guys, that concludes my breakdown. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share, and turn on those post notifications so you can notify when I post a new video. Now, without further ado, let's get out of it, and I'll see you on my next one. Peace!